The one relationship that is of maximum importance is the one you have with yourself. Loneliness is when you are not all right with yourself. Aloneness is when you are all right with yourself. When you are not all right with yourself, obviously you will seek an alternative to your company. I'm not okay with myself, so what will I need? I'll need somebody else to be with. Can there be somebody to relate to? Can there be somebody to sit with, fill myself up with, form a bond with? Can there be somebody else I can look at? Because if I look at myself, all I see is nonsense. If I am only with myself, I have nobody else to look at but myself, right? Everything about me is just hot air. So I would rather that the eyes look elsewhere. So I'll pick up the phone and call somebody up, or I'll travel to the market, or I'll look for marriage, or a social circle, or a weekend group, or some kind of a community. That's loneliness. That's the state of the lonely person. His self is the ego. Loneliness comes to the ego and only to the ego. Only the ego remains lonely. That's how most relationships are. I am lonely, you are lonely. I'll take your load, you bear my load. The ego is ugly. The ego does not really like itself. The ego labels itself as unworthy and incomplete. Therefore, the ego cannot just be with itself and feel fine. The ego must necessarily reach out to the world and want a companion. You are lonely, so you go and tie a knot with someone who is as lonely as you are. And then there are mutual expectations which obviously cannot be fulfilled because neither of you are capable of fulfilling them. When you could not give nice company to yourself, how would you give nice company to the other? When you could not tolerate being with yourself, how is the other going to tolerate being with you? The fellow who strikes a relationship because he is feeling lonely will definitely end up frustrated. Every new disappointment is an opportunity. In a series of failed expectations, in a series of failed relationships, every new failure is an opportunity to reflect in the mirror, to look at one's face honestly for once. Usually the ego refuses to do that. If loneliness is not healed by one relationship, then the ego ventures out in search of another object to grab and clutch and stick to. Oh, this one could not give me what I wanted. Let me try elsewhere. That's what the ego usually does. So life just remains a series of frustrations. Each frustration not really different from the previous one or the subsequent one. Occasionally, rarely, it happens that after being defeated and jolted and thrashed and disappointed many a times, the ego says it does not really look wise to keep trying in the same way. Every new overture I can see is just a rehash of the previous attempts. With the same kind of attempts, how am I going to obtain new results? I better stop this idiocy. It is rare when the ego acknowledges that it is an idiot, but it does sometimes happen. And then one looks at oneself. If he musters courage and allows the seeing to continue, then the trash just falls away. One finds that one does not dislike himself so much anymore. After all, what is it that was dislikable? The rubbish that one has gathered about his being, right? This seeing is purity itself. This seeing is truth itself. When the rubbish has gone, the need to hunt for company has also gone, which means the loneliness has gone. Loneliness, when confronted, shows up as false. All that about you which cried to seek a companion, a partner, something to fill yourself up with, is shown up as an influence upon the mind, is shown up as not your reality. It's just that physical and social influence has indoctrinated you into believing in something totally false. Only the false, the incomplete, the hollow wants to gather and accumulate and add and combine. It's only one's falsenesses that seek completion. Truth is complete in itself. Now this refined ego is no more scared of looking at the mirror. When it is no more scared of looking at the mirror, then it is all right with itself. So loneliness, honestly looking at itself, turns into something that can smile at itself, not really frown, not really look at oneself in disgust. When it is all right with itself, that is called aloneness. Aloneness is the state of the ego in which it does not despise itself anymore. Aloneness is your state in which you can even admire yourself, and honestly so. Aloneness is the state of being in which you do not think of the other as indispensable. Neither do you think of the other as dispensable. You just don't think of the other as necessary to complete you. The other could be a person, an idea, an object, anything. But nevertheless, loneliness and aloneness are not so much about the other. They are about the relationship you have with yourself. If you have been living a life that your best self, that your internal honesty cannot approve of, then you will be very lonely. Your relationship with yourself would be fraught with contempt and disgust. It's not a nice situation to be in, right? In which you are contemptuous towards yourself. You know what you have been doing. You know that better than anybody else. You know the kind of life you have been living. You know that you cannot respect yourself. That is loneliness. When you cannot like yourself, then obviously you have to turn to somebody else. That is loneliness. The lonely man is a burden on the other. At the same time, he is prepared to take the burden of another lonely person upon himself. That's how most relationships are. I am lonely, you are lonely, I'll take your load, you bear my load. As if that reduces your load. But when you are living a life that is rich, full, honest, then you are all right with yourself. Now, it is not so that you will not have a relationship with the other. It is just that now you will not have a dependent or parasitic relationship with the other. Nobody can help you in the entire world if first of all you don't like or respect or love yourself. And most people become admirers or fans because firstly they don't admire themselves. What is the point in admiring a great personality if first of all you cannot admire yourself? That's loneliness. Be your own fan. First of all, loneliness and aloneness are not about your relationship with others, but about your relationship with yourself. Be all right with yourself. Only then will you be able to have healthy and beautiful relationships with others. Aloneness is not the absence of relationship. Aloneness is the presence of health in relationship. The one relationship that is of maximum importance is the one you have with yourself.